Hello and welcome to Tarot with Tanya. This is 7 cards for 7 days, and we are looking at the week of Monday, January 27 to Sunday, February 2nd in 2025. Hard to believe we're at month's end already. So we're going to be moving from the moon in Capricorn on that Monday, and then we'll end next Sunday with the moon in Aries. I'll talk a little bit more about that here soon. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you are new for the first time. So we've got some aspects this week, not quite as busy as last week was, but I'll talk about the astrology, and then I'm still using the Aquarian deck from David Palladini, since we're in the Sun in Aquarius time, and then we'll end with the Tree Keeper's Oracle card. So moon in Capricorn to start with, and also I want to say before I forget, take everything that resonates for you and leave the rest behind, because part of this is to also help you develop your own intuition, rely on your own internal guidance. So back to that moon in Capricorn, earthy, that tends to be kind of a father figure, good at business, good at getting things organized, likes to have the ducks in a row, things like that. Making executive decisions, and then we'll move to Aquarius, which is very different. That's the far out. That's again where the sun is right now, where Pluto has moved, where Mercury is going this week. There's a lot happening in that sign, so the moon will be there, and we're going to have a new moon. I wanted to mention that as well, and that'll be on Wednesday. So I think it moves in on Tuesday sometime, the moon to Aquarius, and then by Wednesday we have this new moon, and it begins the year of the snake, which is good for romance, for art, for fashion, for science and technology, but it can also on the darker side reveal abuses, show scandals, dark things can come to light as well, which also fits with that Pluto in Aquarius energy. So then we'll have the moon in Pisces, the collective unconscious, the very dreamy and mystical, the artist, can be delusional, deceitful as well. And then we'll end with moon in Aries, the warrior. And we do start the week with a fiery card, so that kind of fits, even though that's toward the end. That'll be next weekend. So on Monday we have Mercury going into Aquarius. Mercury likes to be in Aquarius. It's a mental sign. Mercury rules Gemini. That's another air or mental sign. That can make us very interested in space, travel, and ETs, and the tech world, and sci-fi. Can give us an exciting social life. You might like ideas a lot. That happens to be where my Mercury is. And then on Thursday, the 30th, we have Uranus turning direct, and the sun trining Jupiter. So this is going to be one of the happiest, luckiest days of the year. We might feel there's a lot of generosity. We might be attracted to academia, publishing, public speaking. Jupiter is expansive. The sun shines light on things. Uranus turning direct again can help our energy in terms of that more visionary, far out kind of energy too. It will be moving later this year out of Taurus and into Gemini. So, that's going to be interesting too, but we'll save that for another time. Then on Saturday, our last aspects for the week, we have Venus conjunct Neptune. This is very romantic, sensitive. It can give you feel like a deep soul connection with someone. So again, very romantic, dreamy kind of energy. I mean, the Venus is, the romance, and the Neptune is the dreamy part. On the other hand, it can be deceitful, kind of delusional energy. So you want to be careful about what you're doing with that. I wouldn't make big important decisions, but it can be great for things like a makeover, for creating something, for redecorating your home, things like that. All right, so those are our planetary activities for the week, and then now we'll talk about the cards. So I mentioned we do start the week, even though we're still in the moon in Capricorn here. We have this Four of Wands. I'm going to bring that a little closer. This is the small version. When I bought it, I didn't realize there was a large version, but anyway, this is what I have. And this is often seen as a celebratory card. I can't remember if this came up last week, but it was definitely recently. And the fours are going to be connected to the Emperor, and the Emperor makes an appearance too. So a very solid, earthy kind of energy, fire, the instinct, a knowing that's just sudden, it's not intellectual, just somehow your awareness realizes something here, and hopefully that's a reason for celebrating. And then, as I mentioned, we got the Emperor, and that's on our Tuesday. So stability, strength, power can be used as a toxic masculine kind of energy, power over, or it can be much more caring for people, setting up structures that nourish the whole, being benevolent in trying to make positive outcomes for as many people as possible. But if you find yourself a little fixed that day, because 4 is fixed, just try to direct it into positive things, constructing things that work for you in your life. On Wednesday, we get the first of 3 5s for the week. So we had a couple of 4s, and then we have 3 5s. 5s are a bit of a challenge. They're all connected to the Hierophant, so that I think it's Angelis Arians talks about that being meaning, because they're connected to the Hierophant, that they're all human lessons. 4 is the earth number, 5 is the human number. So learning to handle conflict, and it's not necessarily a bad thing here, it's just a lot of different energies, and how do you respond to that? How do you contribute to that? So looking at the way you're using your energy and responding to other people's energies. Remember, it's fire, so it's going to be about those instincts again. And can you, be in a group and hold your own in a sense, and do it with integrity. We're staying with the fire element. It's the most dominant one for this particular week, with the Queen of Rods, or fire, or wands, you might call them. And all the queens are very experienced. It's a masculine energy because it's fire, but she's feminine, so we have some balance in that usage. And she's a woman who's gone on a journey. She looks serene now, but she's got that auburn hair. She is dressed, I would say, very conservatively. It's almost like she has adapted or changed herself through her experience into this calm being. But she's still fire queen, so you might watch out for that kind of energy. Is there a little domination there? Are you using things, maybe having a sense of humor, putting the fire where it does some good? back to our fives when we get to Friday. So this one is, I feel like it comes up a fair amount, and it's always, of course, about those cups, and it's almost in every deck. I think I can think of one exception, but almost in all of them, you will see 2 cups standing, 3 cups toppled. And here, you know, I mean, you can think of it as wine that has spilled, you can think of it as blood that has spilled, but something that probably disappoints the person. Something that's a little bit hard maybe to emotionally release. And yet, if the person were to turn around, would see that the 2 cups, which is what you see in the love card, the 2 of Cups love card, they're standing, they're right there. So yes, maybe something is disappointing, but what do you still have that's intact, that is loving and kind? And you know, maybe that's just the love for the self. Saturday, last of the 5s. And this one is, of course, the Swords. So it's mental, it's air, also masculine. The fire and the air are the masculine energies, the elements. And this one frequently involves some kind of a battlefield, often a group. Here you have a single person holding a couple swords, planting a sword, putting a sword down. So it makes me think of the 1, 2, 3, so forth, 4 of swords. And you know, where are we on this journey when we get to this 5th one? We may have had new ideas, we may have had to make some decisions, we maybe felt some loss with that 3, 4, we had to take a rest, 5, we're strategizing. It can be defeat, and that might even be like being knocked off your feet with a certain concept, letting go of an idea, finding a new way to handle a situation, trying to see with a new perspective. And remember, go back to that Hierophant with these 5 energies and look for that inner spiritual wisdom, and just having awareness, allowing the answers, the insight to come to you, and knowing that's your birthright and they will come when they're supposed to. And last but not least, our 7th card on our 7 days for our Sunday is the Hanged Man, or I like to call it the Hanged One. So you'll always see the figure upside down here. And one description I've read is that this is a reorientation of the human being, that the spiritual self gets, the feet get planted in the spiritual domain. We conceive of it as above us. Of course, it's all within. And then the head down toward the more mundane kinds of, you know, things, the mundane world, the average, the ordinary. And this suspension also is about changing the blood flow. It's a yogi's move. Stand on your head or suspend in some ways, do a handstand, and change that perspective, change that flow of blood. It's a 12 in the majors, and this was our 2nd major. We had just the 4 this week, and then now this one, the 3 is what it turns out to be. The 1 and 2, the 12 make the 3, which connects it also to the Empress, to the abundance card, to the deep mothering, the deep feminine of the universe. So here there's a kind of suspension of that. And perhaps what's coming to me is a choosing of another direction. How do we look at things? And we're coming up to Imbolc. It's around, 1st, 2nd of February, something like that. And that marks that halfway point between the solstice we had, the shortest day of the year in December, late December, and then the equinox that will be coming up, that midpoint between the dark and the light that we'll get in spring in March. So this early February event can be a good place to stop for a moment, take stock, see if you want to adjust any energies. So this is kind of like a pause, a time out, and a good day to have it on a Sunday, rest, contemplate. All right, so overall it's a fairly masculine week with the rods, and to me the 5s, and even though the Hierophant is a sort of a amorphous being, not really masculine, not really feminine, or a male that wears a skirt. They'll often see, or sometimes you'll see a female shaman in that place. But there's some feminine behind all of that as well. All right, and last but not least, for our week, the tree keeper card that came up for us was number 2, the keeper of abundance. And I know I've read this one before, but I can't remember them, so I'm assuming you probably have trouble with that too. The sun creates enough energy in a single day to run all the machines on the earth for 1,000 years. Read that again. The sun creates enough energy in a single day to run all the machines on the earth for 1,000 years. Wow. That's the universe you live in, and you are as worthy a recipient of that energy as any tree, plant, or animal. The tree of your soul is ever reaching down into the dark root system of mystery and up into the sun of abundance. True abundance isn't a plethora of things. It's a wealth of energy and resilience. It's the ability to get back up after a failure, the ability to believe in yourself when no one else seems to, the ability to shine again after the rain of trauma or crisis, and like the tree, to reach ever skyward. So who knows what's going to happen for the year overall, but that resilience, that energy, that ability to keep standing or to get back up, I believe, is a true form of abundance. So, beloveds, I am wishing you the best possible 7 days. Reach out if you could benefit from a personal reading, or if you just have questions about what that's like. I think it can be extremely helpful. And if you would, please like, share, subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions. And I'll see you again in 7 days.